to the Pitch Report. I'm Mario.
And I'm Amilcar.
And today we have no real updates for San Diego FC. We're 3 days away from the very first game, but we do have Champions League action.
Yeah, super exciting. We had the second leg of the, knockouts to go into the round of 16, which kind of, I guess we can jump into like the change because that was a big change in the format. So, for those of you guys that don't know, like the Champions League historically had been a different format. This year, they're starting off with 36 teams, which is, I believe, 8 more than they had in previous years. Basically, they're doing league play, so they pick random teams, they play each other, and then the top 8 teams qualify automatically after the league play, and then 9 through 24 play the knockout round. So we are currently in the 9 through 24 knockout round. So we obviously had the second leg happen right now. So anything exciting that you saw, Mario?
Well, there was a couple of exciting matches, and then maybe some blowouts that weren't as exciting. But to the new format, what do you think so far? Since we've done more like the group stage, and now it's kind of a free-for-all where you play each team just once. Have you liked it?
I mean, it's very interesting for sure. I do enjoy the previous format where you played home and away everybody, so like you got to see everybody twice. But I think the whole point of having this format was you're going to get more exciting games, different teams over and over again, which is kind of neat. Obviously, some teams have fared better than others for sure. Like having, like we talked about, like Lille and Aston Villa in the top 8, which no one ever thought they were going to be in the top 8, kind of bypassing this knockout round.
Yeah, I think it's kind of to that point you've had a little bit more upsets, because I feel like before when they would build the groups, you would say, like, okay, these 2 teams are going to run the group, and by the last 2 games, even 3 games sometimes, they're, like, just parking the bus, really. They're just showing up because they're already guaranteed, like, the next spot. And I feel like this is really incentivized, like, just more competitive play all around.
No, and it was crazy. I don't know if you watched, like, the last match of the, like, pool player or the league play. It was every single team was playing at the exact same time. So there was like 15 matches going on at the exact same time. Yeah. It was like, I felt like March Madness or like something just crazy, just like so many different screens watching so many different games, but it was cool.
Yeah, because I think the most we usually get is, I think, 4 any given time. So yeah, it was pretty insane. So I've personally liked it so far. I am curious if you would have given me a different answer if Real Madrid would have been eliminated. I think that's something we can talk about next. The defending champions, they had to basically enter the playoff to move on to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think they didn't do well the first 3 games. I think they tied, lost a couple. So they were honestly like about to be knocked out, and then they went on like a 3 or 4 game winning streak. So they got to the 11th position. So they were a couple positions out of the top 8, which is where I think you can agree everyone thought that Real Madrid was probably going to be. But luckily they weren't at the levels of Manchester City, which seems like their season is just turning into like a dumpster fire. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it might be the end of an era for Manchester City. So Champions League out, Premier League, I mean, I don't like to roll them out, but it's looking kind of tough. They'll probably still qualify for the Champions League next year. They could maybe still win the FA Cup, but I don't know. I think it's the end of an era. You could see it even in the first goal Mbappe scored today. You could see like Guardiola's face, like, what the hell is this?
I know, and it's wild because they spent so much money in the winter transfer market that I think they thought the games were going to be totally different, like the team was going to be different, but it was more or less the same result. And I mean, yeah, injuries definitely don't help because I know Haaland didn't play today. And so, yeah, I mean, but then again, like Real Madrid also has a ton of injuries. Like everyone has injuries, right? And I think that's also, a topic for a different day about why there's so many injuries, and, our players playing too much is also like a big thing to think about.
Yeah, that's a good point. But overall, like, what did you think about Real Madrid's performance in like the 2 games against Man City?
I mean, I can't complain, man. 6-3 aggregate. It's pretty solid. The first game, it was 3-2 Madrid. It could have been 4-5-1.
Yeah.
Like they played way better than the score line. However, I think it really showed that their back line is just suspect. I think Man City's back line is also suspect. but it seems like we shored that up a little bit more this second match. So I don't know how much of it is Real Madrid positive and how much of it is Manchester City negative. Are they just not a great team anymore? So like, does this match mean that much?
I mean, ultimately, Real Madrid, whatever they do, they end up finding a way to win. It seems like it's been 3 in a row.
No, not 3 in a row. They had 3 in a row at one point,
Okay.
but no, they won last year. The year before that, they didn't win, and then I think they had won three before that.
So yeah, I feel like they always just end up in the championship. As far as like their La Liga like hopes, like this was a pretty good game as far as it could go. Like they basically had the game figured out pretty early on, and I was hoping that they had a really tough game and that they were tired this weekend, since Barcelona and them were like tied for first place in La Liga right now. So yeah, kudos, you guys got the job done pretty early.
Yeah, I mean it was solid. I mean after Mbappe scored in the 4th minute, it was kind of like it was home away after that.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty quick, but I mean it wasn't as bad as that PSG Brest game, man. That was a little sad to watch some parts of it.
10-0. I think the goalie might have been the only one that didn't score on that one.
Yeah, and the crazy part in this 7-0, like they won 10-0 aggregates, what Mario's talking about, but like I think the 7-0 I looked and it was 7 different players scored, which is kind of wild to see. Like I feel like you don't see that very often.
Yeah, pretty cool. Shout out to Florent, who's been a friend of the podcast before. He must have been happy. But I will say I was not happy with the matchup. You go from like Real Madrid, Man City, which basically happens every year, and PSG, Brest. It's like 2 French teams playing each other. I think PSG is like dominating League One, shocker, and then Brest is 9th place. So basically, they just had like a weak game. Like, sorry, not like weak as in like a weak team, but a game that they play usually in the weekend during the week. It was just nothing out of the ordinary for them.
Yeah, but I think like on the flip side, I think we were chatting about this earlier. It's like Club Brugge was last one to come in that you were saying, and then they beat Atlanta, which was barely, probably like a point away from not having to be in the knockout. So, it kind of goes to show, like maybe it's not always a cakewalk, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, talking about that game between Atlanta and Club Brugge, that was a really fun game, dude. The goals from Club Brugge, they were balling out. They were like, it did not look like they were like the last team in. They were so good. They were really, really fun to watch. That was probably one of my favorite games, I would say.
Yeah, that one was good. I think obviously like the Milan match was also very interesting.
Oh man,
that one was rough. Santi Jimenez scoring against his old club, but then they end up not making it through.
Dude, so the game starts, scores like first minute. I'm like, all right, let's go. It resets because Milan was 1-0 in aggregate going into the game. So I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, because I thought like, okay, first game, it was just like nerves. He's playing against his first team, like, or his like team that he broke out in. So I thought, I don't know, like maybe it's just like an emotional thing, like you're playing against the team that got you to like the amazing team you're in now, in a way that gave you like that opportunity. So then I was like, okay, game 2, he got that out of the way. They scored again, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just like shocked. That kind of sucks. Like you literally get traded, or not traded. Sorry, they sell you as one of the best players, and then they beat you.
Well, yeah, and the worst part is like he wanted to go to play European football, and he got knocked out by his old team. So it's a bummer. You hate to see it, but that one's also that'll be fun to watch. And I think that like that circles out the fact that like Italian teams, every Italian team in the knockout round lost. So there's only one left, which is Inter Milan, but obviously they were out of the knockout because they were the number 4 place team. So I don't know. It's just, I think with Champions League football, it's always really interesting to see like what leagues are really the strongest at the end of the day. And I think other than 2 years ago when AC and Inter both went to the semis, like a lot of the times the Italian teams seem to drop off early.
Yeah, that's true. I will admit, with the new format, for a moment when I was seeing like this round, I was like, wow, a lot of like the big teams are out of the Champions League already. But I forgot it was like the top 8 that they were not playing. So initially I was like, oh, I'm liking this format. It's all upsets, but I forgot this was like the playoff round. Because at first I was like, oh, wow, there's like no English teams left, but it's actually a good amount.
Yeah, I think you forget that they're playing those extra games. And I was looking at the top scorers of the Champions League so far, and it's actually funny because like a player on Dortmund is one of the top scorers, but I wonder like how they're going to factor in the fact that like some teams play 2 less games potentially, even if you go to the final. But I guess
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
so who knows?
I didn't think about that. I mean, I guess that's one of the upsides, I guess, of playing a few extra games.
Yeah, and I guess technically if you're playing the knockout, then you probably shouldn't be getting to the final.
Yeah.
So you play those extra games, I guess, on the back end.
Because technically, even if you didn't make it that far and you just had a crazy like group stage, you could, or not group stage, but like initial stage and scored a bunch of goals, you could still win the Golden Boot, right?
Yeah. I think it's open to anybody as long as you just play some terrible teams in the beginning and just go crazy and score a bunch of goals.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But like, have you seen the bracket for the teams that are left?
I have briefly. I don't remember every team.
Yeah, like I mean, there's some like pretty cool matchups that I'm kind of excited about, and they're redoing another draw on Friday, but it's kind of like a mini draw because essentially every team from the knockouts that went through can play one of 2 teams, so that's how they broke it down. So like for example, like PSG can play either Liverpool or Barcelona, and whoever doesn't play them gets to play Benfica. So, and it kind of puts them on opposite sides of the bracket. So it's like a little mini draw, but I think it's there's some potentially like really interesting matchups. Anything you see that's interesting?
Yeah, well, based on what you said, like Liverpool and Barcelona were ranked number 1 and 2, and either one of them is going to play like number 16 Benfica, where Lille and Aston Villa are one of them just going to play Club Brugge, which is 24, and it just happened to be that Club Brugge pulled the upset. So in this case, like it kind of paid off to like barely make it into like the top 8. And you could argue because the way I saw them playing, they were balling out. They looked so good. That was like my favorite game in terms of goals played. They looked really, really good. They actually reminded me of the PSV team from 2019, which you might remember knocked out Real Madrid in the in the quarterfinal, and then eventually they lost to Tottenham in the semis. But anyways, different story. But yeah, so I think that could be a potentially interesting matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, as a Madrid fan, I'm very excited about. It could be like a derby against Atletico Madrid or Leverkusen. It'll be like the potentially future coach in Xabi Alonso against his old coach, in Ancelotti. So that's a cool one that I'm looking forward to. And the funny part is whoever doesn't play, it's like Atletico Madrid or Leverkusen are either going to play Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. So like they probably are like, I don't care who it is at this point. They're both really good teams. So that's a fun one, I feel like.
So then in the draw, basically like Bayern Munich can play either Leverkusen or Atletico, and then Real Madrid can play the other, either Atletico or Leverkusen. Mm-hmm. So who do they draw the team to, and who gets like the leftover team basically? Do you know, or is it?
No idea. I'm sure they're just going to I guess they'll probably just pick who's going to play PSG. So they'll probably have like Liverpool and Barcelona, and then they'll probably pick who, like the first one plays PSG, probably from like pots, so they'll do like one pot with Liverpool, Barcelona, one pot with PSG and who was the other team? Benfica. So then they'll probably just pull this one from one pot, this one from the other pot, and that's how they play.
Oh, I see. And I know I like literally just said a few minutes ago that I really like this format, which I still do, but these have some very lopsided potential matchups. So like Liverpool or Barcelona could get Benfica, but if they don't get Benfica, they could get PSG.
Well, and the thing is, like, also if they get Benfica, then the next match they get is either like Lille, Aston Villa, or Dortmund, which is much better than. Oh, I guess they'll get the Bruges, Lille, or Aston Villa. Yeah. So maybe not.
So then between Atletico, Leverkusen, which one? I know you mentioned there's interesting things about both of them, but which one would you rather see Real Madrid play?
I mean, I think I really don't love playing Atletico Madrid. I think just because we know each other too well, and it's always a very physical match every time it's we play each other. So I think Leverkusen will be a little bit of a better matchup for Real Madrid. They'll be able to actually play more than just like fight, for lack of better words. So they'll actually be able to do what we did today, and it's like just be able to play free-flowing football, which I don't think they can do as much against Atletico. And they've already played once before. They're going to play again. So I think seeing an opponent too many times is never good.
Yeah, I think it also, the more you play them, I feel like it creates more of like an anyone can win kind of circumstance.
Yeah, which is already a toss-up, I feel like, when you're doing Champions League football, just because two legs, like anything can happen, really. You know what I mean? And then for Barcelona, I mean, I'm not even going to ask you because I think it's pretty obvious. You definitely don't want to see PSG. Even though, like, they've had their ups and downs, but, like, I mean, the way they played Brest, it's definitely don't want to see them.
No, yeah, I would definitely take Benfica. I would also say the Benfica, we didn't talk about it earlier, but the Benfica-Monaco game, like, Benfica didn't win that game. Monaco, like, lost it. Like, Monaco got tired of, like, missing shots. Like, they created so many opportunities. So I would say out of, like, the knockout phase that we saw right now, Benfica, from what I was looking at, seemed like the weakest team. So, yeah, I would for sure take Benfica.
Dude, that's but the thing is, like we said, like with Atlanta Club Brugge, like sometimes a weaker team, you never know.
Yeah.
They'll come out and then they'll push through. So I'm excited. We'll probably come back next week and after the SDFC game and probably talk about the draw and see what'll happen there.
Oh, absolutely. So just before we move on, all right, I know your favorite to win is Real Madrid, but what would be your upset team? Like, what's like your Cinderella story that you see here?
Like to go all the way, or for just this next round?
Just have a maybe good run, maybe like semis. I think Club Brugge, for example, is the first team to win a knockout phase game like from Belgium. So that's already maybe could be considered a Cinderella story, but to have a deep run.
To be honest with you, I would probably go with Arsenal. I think Arsenal is going to have a good matchups because they're playing either Feyenoord or PSV, and then they'll play basically the winners of either Real Madrid against their team or Bayern Munich. So I mean, they could have a good run, and they're a very, very solid team, especially at the back with like William Saliba and their defenders, and then they obviously can score a ton of goals. So that's what I think. What about you?
Well, I'll say that's a bit of a backhanded compliment, calling Arsenal like they could be like a Cinderella, considering they're in second for the Premier League, so they could still. But yeah, I'll give it to you. I just think Arsenal's a pretty big team, so I'll keep it interesting, and I'll say Club Brugge. I really like them, so I could see them having a deep run.
There you go, man. And I mean, it's anyone's game, and they're playing, like we said, Lille and Aston Villa, which. Sad to say, like I think we were all surprised that they were in the top 8.
Yeah,
Aston Villa's had a pretty solid Premier League though. So, but Lille, I don't watch a ton of Ligue 1, so I don't really know.
they actually won the league 2 years ago, actually.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So they broke up PSG's like 10-year winning streak.
It's like the same thing that Bayern Munich has, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Leverkusen. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are some interesting matchups. So we'll see. I guess what ends up happening there.
And we have about a month break before they start play again.
Yeah, and like, do you think that the fact that they're playing these extra games is going to affect these teams? 'Cause I know like we've talked about previously, the amount of matches that players have to play. But do you think that these two games specifically are going to be an issue?
In the Champions League, no. Like, I think it could be an issue. Like Real Madrid, I think might feel a little bit more this weekend. Well, actually, they had a pretty dominant win. But yeah, I think it'll affect them more in the respective home leagues because a lot of these teams are playing like to still qualify for Champions League next year. So I think it'll affect them there more because, to your point, they play so many games already. I don't think it'll affect their match readiness. Especially for the teams in more competitive leagues. PSG might feel it a little bit more.
PSG will feel a little bit more?
Like, what I mean, like, PSG, I feel like they don't have a regular competitive game.
Yes, okay.
So they could maybe benefit from, like, having more regular competitive play than, like, a Barcelona, Real Madrid, Premier League teams. So where they always play at a very high level.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I feel you. I think that'll be. I think it's gonna be a factor. Honestly, I think it will. It's not like college football or anything like that where they're not playing anything at all for a couple of weeks. Like they're still playing a ton of games. I think when you have so many injuries and so many people that aren't playing, I think it always affects people. So I'm mildly concerned. I was really hoping that Real Madrid was gonna be top 8. So I'm mildly worried about it. But a lot of these teams are like putting it together.
Yeah.
At this time right now.
And we've seen it in baseball too. Like when the playoffs start, like kind of like the wild card teams tend to do pretty well compared to like the league winners that don't play like that first round. Like we've seen a lot of upsets. Dodgers were the exception this year, but so yeah, we've seen some formats it just doesn't work out very well for the team that was higher seeded.
Yeah, and I think that's strictly because you're not playing anything. Yeah. So I think if like Barcelona, Inter, all them, like if they weren't playing anything for a month, then yeah, I would be concerned about it. But they're still playing like domestic cups and they're still playing league cups the league itself. So I think that it's going to be totally fine. It's going to be more concerning to actually have to play the extra games because you could have some time off.
Okay. Well, we'll see you after the Friday draw. We'll recap what we think once the matches are set. They'll be played in about a month. But let's circle back just to San Diego FC before we log off.
Yeah, for sure. So they have their first ever game against LA Galaxy at 4 on Sunday, which you're going to be going to, and I'm scoping out some tickets to potentially also go. So that'll be a fun one.
Yeah, and they're playing with their blue jersey, which I guess is their home jersey, because the white is LA Galaxy's home color. And then I was confused with San Diego FC. This is how new they are, or how like dumb I am, I guess. That I didn't know which one was home and which one was away, because they called the white kit the community kit. So then I was like, is that their word for home? But then I think blue is the home one, based on like my Google search. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that'll be which I guess a lot of teams have white home kits, so they're probably I feel like going to be playing in their blue kits more often away as well. But I did look at the win probabilities and not looking too hot for San Diego FC. It looks like it's 67% chance LA Galaxy, 18% draw, and then 50% SDFC. So, we're going for a good time. See what what's going to happen there. But we'll be repping for sure.
I literally do not know what to expect. I've never been to Dignity Sports Park, which is the home of LA Galaxy. Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't even know if we're gonna recognize people wearing gear. Like I have one San Diego FC shirt, which is white. I'm planning on getting the jersey next week before the game, like the home game. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna blend in with any fans. From far away, it'll look like I'm there for LA Galaxy. Yeah, I really have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, I kind of right there with you. Never been to an MLS game, so it'll be just fun to be there. It'll be a good environment, and I think a lot of these things are you want to go just say you were there the first time they ever played, and the first home game ever, founding member and whatnot.
Yeah, so should be a good time, like you said, at the very least.
Yeah,
that's what we're hoping for.
Exactly, just a good time, and just to see what the team's gonna look like. Like we talked about the last episode, we don't know what this team's gonna look like. They've never played together. Most of these players have never played in the MLS in general. Yeah. So just see what it looks like, and I guess there's no tougher task than against the defending champions.
Well said.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for joining us. So we'll wrap it up there. Mar, you think that's a good place to end it?
Yeah, I would say so. I'll just add that if you are planning on going to the game, we want to know about it. Let us know. DM us at _pitch report. And we are also on Twitter/X at _pitch report. So please send us messages, any comments, questions, listener feedback. We want it all.